Hi friends, welcome back. I'm so excited to be journaling with each and every one of you today. Instead of doing my typical journal with me video where I talk you through my process of what I'm doing on the screen, today I thought I would mix things up a little bit and instead talk to you about a topic that is really important to me while doing my weekly review and my week 32 setup. This topic was voted on in our community tab, so if you're over there, you may know that today I'm going to be talking about a couple lessons that I've learned that have helped me be a little more consistent with my journaling practice. I'm hoping that these lessons will help you be more consistent in your practice and maybe give you a couple of ideas that you haven't heard before in regards to kind of being consistent with a habit that is important to you. But before we get into it, I always like to remind you all to sit down, get comfortable, and make this a super cozy experience for yourself. Make sure to grab a blanket, some slippers, sweatpants are always lovely, maybe some tea, and I don't know, maybe a nice warm neck rest. That could be a nice addition. Whatever it is, let's just get comfortable and journal together. Lately, I've been not only the most satisfied and happy with my journaling practice, but also the most consistent. And when I reflected on why that is, one of the biggest resounding reasons for me was that a lot of the reasons why I journaled were because they were important to me. For example, I have 3 important reasons as to why I like to journal. The first is organization. Using my journal as a bullet journal is really important for me because it helps me organize my thoughts, get ready for the day, and know exactly what I'm doing so my stress levels don't kick up into high gear. But in addition to being an organization tool, it's also really important to me to have a space to release my feelings and really kind of reflect on the day, week, or month so that I can take my mind out of the future and ground it back into the present. So in addition to being organized, I also need to reflect. And both of those reasons are really important to me equally. However, there's a third reason that journaling is important to me too, and that is as a record-keeping tool. I really like taking the time to record my day and jotting down those memories so I can remember them later down the line. Now, although it is perhaps not always natural to do things just for yourself and not for anyone else, I encourage you with your journaling practice, if it is something that you do only for yourself, to think about if the reasons why you're journaling align with what is important to you. I found that my journaling practice really reached its peak once I let go of the expectations and ideals of other people as well as social media, and instead just kind of, selfishly focused on what mattered to me. And because the journal is for me, it's really not selfish, even though we can kind of get into that mindset. And once I started thinking in that way and only journaling for myself, that really transformed my practice into being something a lot more enjoyable. And when it's a lot more enjoyable, for me, it's a lot easier to be consistent. The next thing that I learned, which really helped me be consistent with my journal, but also kind of be more authentic and find my own style and process that I really liked, was focusing on making my journal easy to use and enjoyable. I think these things are easier said than done, so for this lesson I thought I would share with you a couple examples of how I've done this in my own journal, so maybe it can give you a couple ideas or maybe spark some inspiration and reflection in your own practice. So let's begin with the easy part, which is making your journal easy to use. I don't like to spend a ton of time journaling. Ideally for me, a long journaling session is maybe half an hour maximum, and more ideally 10 to 15 minutes long. So because of that, I don't really like to do any complex illustration or drawing or painting in my journal because I find that just takes me a long time and isn't something I find rewarding. Instead, what I like to do is cut down on the production time by using stamps. These are really clean and provide a really neat look to my journal, which I really love, but take very, very little time to apply to the page and get that really beautiful result. Also, another way I make my journal really easy to use is because I like to collage in my journal. That means that I can always add those details before or after I've put my writing down on the page. For me, this is really important because sometimes when I have free time or I'm just really motivated to reflect or get organized, I just want to get right to it and get to the meat of it all, get to the grinding and just write down my thoughts, write down my to-do list, and essentially get it down before I forget. Really, that's actually the main reason. So allowing myself to just go ahead and write without having potential barriers such as decorating a page or doing stamping in advance really helps me get to journaling and be consistent with writing it down because it's easy to get there. There's no friction points. In addition to making the actual practice easy to do, I also found that making it a really enjoyable and just kind of fun process really helped me be consistent as well. Recently, during my journaling sessions, I've really focused on making the overall time I spend journaling really fun so that next time I sit down to journal, I'm a lot more motivated to do it. And for me, ways I like to make the process enjoyable is sitting down, putting on a TV show. Usually I'm rewatching something so that listening is enough and I'm not getting distracted by the visuals. So for me, that's usually either like an animated show like Pokemon or Avatar, or maybe RuPaul's Drag Race since I've rewatched that show quite a bit, but still just really love listening to the contestants' voices while I'm journaling. And I just find sitting down, watching a bit of TV and getting creative to be just something that is a really fun activity to do in my spare time. And making it enjoyable really kind of motivates me to keep doing it. Now I will mention quickly though, I don't watch TV while I reflect because that's just too distracting. So take this one with a grain of salt and make sure that you're making it fun without making it too distracting and then difficult to do. So yeah, happy medium on this one. The last thing that's helped me be really consistent in my journal is journaling for wholeness and not for perfection. I think letting go of perfection with journaling is something that has been quite a long time coming for me, and it's taken me a while to actually get to the point where I've released perfection and not associated it with my journaling practice. But for me, I was able to kind of finally break through this wall when I started doing cursive in my journal, because this choice was me essentially purposefully opting for something messier and imperfect in place of my clean, neat, and honestly really nice looking handwriting. So for all of you maybe struggling with perfection in your journal right now, I really encourage you to just kind of jump in the proverbial lake and just like do one thing that isn't perfect and just make your journal officially your own. And not a perfect thing, but just a thing that serves you and isn't perfect, but is still worthy. And with that, I'm going to end off these 3 lessons that really helped me be more consistent in my journal. I really hope that these lessons were interesting for you to hear about, and I hope you enjoyed this more kind of talkative, topic-based video. Let me know your thoughts below. I'd love any feedback. And besides that, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore. Hello, Ramona. I reach through mysterious ceilings. My